Is male leadership and achievement really fulfilling? Is male leadership and achievement really fulfilling? So, if there's one thing that I've noticed about the manosphere, and by manosphere I mean all of it, red pill, PUA, dating advice, everything that is geared towards men, selling men ideas, selling men concepts, selling men motivation, selling men advice on dating and pickup, advice on improving your personal life, advice on even improving your finances, advice on getting in better shape. All of this really the answer, right? Really the answer to self-fulfillment, self-actualization, and ultimately self-happiness, right? Is all of this the answer? Well, this is a tough one because on the one hand, it's like I want to improve. I want to get in better shape. I want to become more attractive. I want to become more intelligent. I want to make more money, right? Naturally, I think we all want these things. But are these things really fulfilling? Or I should say, is the achievement of these things really fulfilling? And the reason why I put leadership in the beginning of this video is because I think leadership is kind of, I don't know if I'd say at the core, if that's the right way to put it, but leadership is something that men really like and they really want to adhere to. Men want to be alpha. Many men, right? Many men want to be alpha, and women want men who are alpha, right? Which is a mind fuck because there's so much today geared towards, you know, women themselves wanting a man who is equal to them, and she wants somebody to share something with, right? She thinks that. But, and that might be fulfilling a little bit for her for a time being. It's like, oh, cool, he's equal, he's like me, he's a feminist. But there's also something deep within her nature that wants a leader, that wants a masculine man to take charge. And I think we know this as a human race. We sense this, right? But because feminism is such a toxic thing, it sort of brainwashes women into believing that that's part of, that male leadership is part of toxic masculinity, right? So because of that, they seek out these guys who are kind of more beta, who are more passive, who are more all about equality. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that what you understand about female nature is that female nature wants a masculine man, right? And it wants a man to take charge and to be a leader. So this is why I preface this, it is that kind of thing fulfilling? Because deep down, I think we all know that women want really strong masculine men who are in charge and who are alpha. So because we know that, it's a real target, right? It's a real cash cow, or it's a subject that is really sensitive to a lot of guys. So if a lot of guys who want to make money, who put out content on YouTube or put out programs, dating programs or what have you, right? Strength camps, come to my camp and become better, be more masculine, all this kind of stuff. I'll teach you how to be a man because your mom didn't do it because she was a single mom and all this kind of stuff, right? It's very marketable to want to teach men leadership because there's something within us that knows women want masculine men. Women are telling us this every day with their body language, with how they test us and how they look at us. They want masculinity. They want leadership. They want that alpha, right? But here's my thing. Is that really fulfilling, right? Is it really fulfilling to want to be more of a leader, want to be more masculine, want to be more alpha, woo, 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 right? Is that really fulfilling? Now, again, as I said before, Let me just go like this and do a little drive. Do a little drive talk. But as I said before, I don't see anything wrong per se with improvement. I think that as humans, we want nice things. We want to be able to take care of ourselves, right? These are basic necessities, I believe. I believe these are necessities. I don't believe these are privileges. Like some people say, well, it's a privilege that you got a job and a career. Like maybe, but you need that. And it's good to not have a wage slave job, and the world is messed up by the way it, you know, pays people so little. It's disgusting. Whereas the CEO of the company makes so much money, right? It's disgusting. It's human slavery, right? Those are problems that we have as humans. And also because of those problems, we have competition and ambition, right? Which is a part of the whole thing, right? This is why so many people are so cutthroat today. This is why so many people don't have love for their fellow human beings, because it's a big competition. It's a big race. Everybody's trying to, you know, keep up with the Joneses or trying to get one over on the Joneses. They're trying to compete with their neighbors. Oh, you got a boat, now I got to get a boat. Oh, you got a camper, now I got to get a camper. Oh, you did these additions to your house, now I got to do these additions to your... I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are in that trap, right? They're in that ambition trap. Well, that's the Matrix, guys. That's the Matrix. That is the rat race. That is the soul-sucking, soul-occupying, building bricks for Pharaoh, slavery of Egypt, which is the world. That's what the Matrix is, right? So you could surmise that male leadership and self-improvement and all this woo-woo wah-wah stuff that everybody's preaching, everybody want, and it's not that it's not helpful, it's not that it can't be beneficial, it's just, it's a proponent of that. It's all part of it. It's like, hey, you got to beat out this guy and you got to beat out that, and really you should be fighting with yourself, and you should be fighting with your own limitations, and you should be really just in competition with yourself to improve yourself, which is fine and good, right? It's fine. It's good to be in better shape, good to be healthier, good to make more money in a sense, right? If you're smart with it and you're not, you know, you do the right things with it. You're not greedy, or you don't blow it, or you don't spend it on frivolous things, or it doesn't corrupt you even, because money can really corrupt people. The greed and lust for more money, it can corrupt people, right? So if you're wise with your money, okay, it is what it is. Do I like this system? No, because there's always winners and losers. Not everybody can win, and many men like that. They're like, yeah, it's all a competition. Everything's a competition. And it's just like, okay, but where's your love, right? Where's your care for other people? Is it really masculine to want to put others down and uplift yourself? Is that really masculine, or is that maybe pretty sociopathic? Is that maybe pretty darn selfish and animalistic even? You know, there's always this argument going around in the manosphere that, you know, because of our biology, you know, we should survive and we should provide, and we need to be able to fend off attackers. So we need personal strength, you know, personal protection, and then we need to be able to protect our family. And it's like, I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, if there's a mugger or an attacker or something, like that's one of those situations that, I don't know, man. It's you would hope that you'd be able to survive in a situation like that, and you'd hope that you'd, but that's, I mean, most people are not equipped for that type of situation, right? This is why we have police. This is why people have guns and things like that. So yeah, we're not really living in the Stone Age. Maybe our ancestors did, you know, fight to fend off saber-toothed tigers or whatever, like these masculine guys talk about. Maybe, but it's not today. It's not, you know, not every time I go outside the door do I got to fight off a pack of wolves. I don't live in that environment, and most people don't, right? So we don't really have those boundaries of biology, right? So, but women are still attracted to those things on a sort of biological level, I do believe that's true. I do believe a woman is attracted to a man who's stoic and masculine, and I think she's more attracted to that on her base level than she is on any other level, because I really do believe that these women are sort of brainwashed to their own nature. But here's my question. Here's the kind of caveat or the hitch, right? Is that nature right in the first place, right? Because if you really think about it, it is Darwinistic. It is survivalist, survival of the fittest type thing. And it is shallow. And the reason why I say it's shallow is because it's unloyal. Now, you claim to love somebody, but really you just found the fittest male. You just went out and you monkey branched, you rode the cock carousel, you jumped from guy to guy until you found one that you felt he was the apex or whatever. He was the best one you could get, right? Because he was the most masculine, or he just had his stuff together the most, or he was just the most. And this is something that's on I agree that it's on a biological level. I believe that. I believe that it's on a more base instinct, a natural instinct, if you will, right? But, you know, when you think about it, though, it's really a performance. It's almost a kind of slavery. It's almost, you're still in the matrix, if that makes sense. Like, are you really fulfilled? You know, if as a man, you are doing all these things to make yourself more marketable to a woman's base instincts, which, again, I do believe those base instincts really kind of run women, particularly when they're younger. As they get older, they start to think with their higher brain a bit more. And it varies from woman to woman. Some women just have a lot more virtue than other women, and they base their attraction to men on I wouldn't say male virtues, on just human virtues, which is a lot better than base instinct, right? Because again, base instinct is animalistic. So this would overlook a lot of things. I always use the example of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, for all intents and purposes, is just a bag full of hot air. He's a complete asshole, but he's successful. He's a successful asshole, and because of that, people admire him and women want him. Women are attracted to him. But you gotta ask the question, is that attraction and admiration really chivalrous? Chivalrous is not the right word. What word am I looking for? Is it really I can't think of a good word. What the fuck? Is it really based on any kind of ethical or moral or higher? I just had the fucking word. God damn it. Any higher type of life, right? And again, what is a higher type of life? A life with virtue. There we go. Virtue's the word. Is it virtuous? Is Donald Trump virtuous? Absolutely not. He's not. Donald Trump is not a virtuous man. He's a crass, rude, dare I say bigoted, although he's done a good job of making people think he's not. He kind of is. He's borderline. Like, he's careful with his words. You know, I mean, for a president to call other countries shithole countries, there's no virtue in that. I'm not saying that's racist. Technically, it's not. People, you know, the news construed it that it was. Technically, it's not to call and maybe those countries are shithole countries, but is that virtuous? No. What would be virtuous, and some people might say, well, that's just political, he's telling the truth. Maybe, but again, there's no virtue in that. It's crass, it's rude, it's mean, right? And people say, well, life is mean and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but do we have to make it more mean? Why can't we make it virtuous? Why can't we make it kind and nice, right? Why not? Oh, because that's not what life is about, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, I guess, but you're making arguments for being an asshole. Like, do you have to be an asshole? No, you don't have to be an asshole. You can be a kind person. So instead of saying shithole countries, he could say countries that really need help, or countries that are really marginalized, right? That would be a statement out of love. something along those lines. Countries that are really hurting economically, or countries that need more government structure, countries that need more government funding, whatever, right? That's a more virtuous way to say it, and it's not lying either. The reason why those countries are shithole countries is because they lack those things. They lack a GDP, gross domestic product. They lack a proper government structure. Maybe their government is corrupt. Maybe this, maybe that. So maybe technically it's true that they're shithole countries, but it's not a virtuous thing to say. You see my point? So when a man seeks leadership, or when he seeks achievement as the goal, as opposed to virtue, as opposed to character virtues, right? So again, such as kindness, love, and these things, because there's a verse in the Bible that says love covers a multitude of sins. Love covers a multitude of sins. And what is that, right? That is, okay, maybe you have these flaws, but instead of being a jerk about it and claiming my dominance, which is kind of what this stuff teaches you, I'm going to give you grace, and I'm going to help you, or I'm going to be kind to you, and I'm not going to point out your flaws, and I'm not, right? And there's this thought in the manosphere that, like, leadership, it doesn't matter if you're crass, it doesn't matter if you're a jerk, it doesn't matter if you have virtue or not. All that matters is winning. All that matters is being an alpha. All that matters is being dominant. All that matters is your masculinity, and this, that, and the third, right? But again, these are base instincts, right? These are base animalistic behaviors without virtue in many cases. We don't teach virtue. We teach winning, ambition, leadership, improvement at all costs, whatever the cost. I don't hear these guys talking about building character. I don't hear these guys talk, character in that way. Kindness, right? How about courage? How about commitment? How about responsibility in a wholesome sense, right? I don't hear them talking about those things. I don't hear them talking about having virtue of your behavior. No, all I hear about is how to be more masculine, how to win, how to be more ambitious, how to be more self-disciplined so that you can succeed, and all these kind of things. And again, it's not that some of these things aren't helpful. Maybe they are. Maybe they work. But if you don't have the morals, if you don't have the virtues and the ethical foundation, well, I just think that you're lacking a key element, right? So I would argue that these things are what's really fulfilling about life. What really makes a person happy is when others are happy, when others succeed, and when others are shown virtue and kindness and grace. But if you have this insulated, selfish, solipsistic type of leadership or achievement as a man, that might attract a selfish, solipsistic type of woman. That might attract a woman who is very much not evolved in her baser instincts. She just wants the guy with the best house, the guy who succeeds, and it doesn't matter how he gets there as long as he succeeds. It doesn't matter his character as long as he succeeds. That's what matters. And then we become animalistic. We lose our humanity in that process. We lose our care for other people in that process. But life is like that. You can go through life and no one gives a shit about you. So why should you give a shit about anyone else? That's that's been one of the biggest challenges for me, is to not get lost in the sauce of I read a quote on this recently, and or somebody said something about it, and it was so good. I wish I could remember it. It was something like, the world could be so cold sometimes that we become cold. The world can be so cold sometimes. I think it was indifference. Somebody said something about indifference. Yeah, it was a quote on indifference. He said that if we become indifferent, we lose everything. We lose our humanity. We lose our love. We lose our care for people. And I thought that's such a good quote. How not to be indifferent, because so many people are just indifferent. They're walking around and they don't care about anything else but themselves. They don't care about anything else but their own success. They don't care about anything else but their own achievements, their own masculinity, their own alphaness, their own leadership, and all these things, right? All these things that we're being taught in the manosphere. And the reason why I brought up the female aspect, that this is what women want, is because that's the motivation. Because we're like, oh man, I want to come, I want to spread my genes, I want a hot woman, I don't have one, probably because I'm too nice. This is what I'm being told, that I'm too nice, I'm too this, I'm too that. I was raised wrong. Everything is wrong because I was raised in a gynocentric society, and I was raised by my mother, mostly because my father was always working or whatever, and she taught me to be kind and nice, and she kind of molded me to be this male feminist and all this stuff we hear, which isn't untrue. It isn't untrue. That's probably why women aren't that attracted to you, because you're too nice, you're too feminine yourself. And what are feminine characteristics? It's not leadership. It's not. It's more amiable, being kind, being submissive, being pliable, being a team worker. These are kind of more feminine traits these days. Whereas masculine traits are more independent, more I got mine, and hot, I don't care if you get yours, and I'm going to put others down to lift myself up, because that's what survival of the fittest means, and all this kind of, which I view as toxic, right? But here's the thing, again, this is why I said that it's true that men being raised in this gynocentric society, being raised to be more equal with women and being raised to be feminist and things like that, that does not attract women. It comes across as weakness. And many men are just passive. Many men just have no clue on how to be masculine, have no clue on how to be on their purpose and how to stay ambitious and how to achieve things and things like that, right? Many men just have no clue. And women are just not attracted to that. They can tell, they can sniff it right away. And we don't even know. Many years I didn't even know why women weren't attracted to me. It's not because I thought I was ugly. I thought I just wasn't that good looking, and that's not the case. Because I learned later after I hooked up a bunch, like, well, women are attracted to me. It's not that. Yes, we can always be in better shape physically and blah, 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 right? You can get yourself sexier. Sure, hit the gym, eat better, right? No, they are seeking masculine dominance. They are seeking male leadership. They are seeking a man with survival abilities. They are seeking a man who can provide and protect. This is what they want. But the reason why I say this is because that's the motivation for all these things. That's the motivation. That's the motivation to sell men all this male leadership stuff, to sell men all this masculinity stuff, right? This is what sells the men on that. You're right. Oh, this makes sense. This is why women aren't attracted to me. I have to become more masculine. I have to do this and that. And it's like you can just get lost in the sauce. Well, who are you really? Who are you? Are you living your life, or are you trying to live your life according to some masculine standards so that you can attract a woman? And then the question becomes, would you really want that woman once you got her? Because if she's really just attracted to these masculinity aspects of you, which are not really virtuous, well, it's arguable whether you could say they're virtues. I mean, they're virtues in the strictest sense of the word, but are they ethical virtues? Are they moral virtues? Are they virtues that help other men? Are they virtues that help society, right? It's arguable, and we can get into that. What is real? What is a real alpha? What is real masculinity, right? Which really is supposed to help others. It's supposed to be helpful for others, not just yourself, right? But that's a whole nother, well, I don't know if it's a whole nother story, but that's somewhat of a side note. Or we could talk about that. I mean, that is part of this. You know, you should be able to help others. You should want to help others. You should want to help. You should have a heart, right? But if you're just selfish, if you're just insulated, if you just care about your own success, and maybe you are successful in that, but is that really the type of woman that you would want, right? But and would you really feel fulfilled like that? Do I think Donald Trump really feels fulfilled? I don't know. You'd have to question what that word fulfilled means. He might feel successful. I'm sure he feels very successful. And there's this sort of, you know, I've been successful, you know, before. There's this sort of temporary happiness in that, right? Where like, oh yeah, everybody likes, you know, I was on varsity basketball my junior and senior years of high school. Before that, I played JV, and believe me, even on that level, there is a type of status that you get, and people like you, and people treat you like a celebrity, even in high school. At least the high school I went to. I don't know about your high school, but I walked around with people. I walked around kind of like a mini celebrity, like a lightweight celebrity. Like people would be, oh, what's up? What's up, Jay? What's up? What's up? They didn't know me, but they knew I was on the basketball team. They didn't know me, the real me. In fact, I didn't even know me, the real me, right? How I got to know the real me was I started to soul search, and I started to seek out things bigger than myself, seek out virtues, seek out, you know, accomplishment, achievement, things like that. And I'll tell you, the best people I've ever met in my life were kind people. The best people I've ever met in my life were people who you could just tell they care about others. You can tell that they have humanity. The best people I've ever met in my life. And it wasn't about, oh, I'm successful, I'm this, I'm that, I've got my house, I've got this, I've got that. I didn't care about that when I met those people. I wasn't comparing myself to those people. I was just endeared and ingratiated by their kindness. That made me happy. That made me feel better back when I had nothing. Back when I didn't even have the ambition to get something. Back when I was lost. Back when I was low self-esteem, sad, depressed. I met kind people. I met people who cared about me, who I could tell they had love for fellow humans. And they left behind them a trail of almost like an aura of humanity. And it was like, it watered me. It watered my soul. It made me feel good. And then I spent years on this other thing, trying to be more masculine, trying to be more of a leader, trying to gain more money and all this stuff. And then I lost that. I lost that love and beauty of life, you know? And I lost that humanity. I lost the care for people because I was so caught up in, I need to be this so I can get this type of woman. And it's like, again, do you really want a selfish, solipsistic, ambitious woman who's going to try to achieve and reach her hypergamy goals through you as a successful leader of a man? Do you really want that? That's my question. You know, and it's, maybe you don't want either of those things. Maybe you don't want to be that blue-pilled beta. Maybe you don't want to be that weak guy who's raised by the feminist mom and okay, maybe you don't want to be that. But also, maybe you don't want to be this ultra-masculine, successful, greedy Donald Trump type guy either. And I'm not saying we all got to be like Donald Trump to be like that. You know, there's various levels to it. But maybe you don't want to be that male leader who's always being masculine, who's always self-absorbed, who's always, right, always in competition with either himself or someone else. It's like, my question is that really fulfilling? Is that really, is that type of leadership and achievement and masculinity and alpha, all the stuff that they preach in the manosphere, is that really fulfilling? Do you really feel love and fulfilled there? Again, when I felt my most fulfilled was when I was kind of just away from all of that. When I would meet people who were kind, when I would meet people who really were enjoying life, you know? Are you really enjoying life when you're always on your purpose and you're stoic and you're stone-faced and your eyes are all squinty because you're so focused on all the things you got to do today, and be more masculine and have this mindset where I'm always going towards my goals and I got no time to talk, I got no time to smile, I got no time to be a human. I'm always doing this and doing that, you know, right? You lose something, and maybe you achieve your goals. Maybe you have the nice house. Maybe you have the success, the money. Maybe you get those things because you're so focused and you're so dead set on those achievements that's all you can think about. So sure, you achieve those things, right? Maybe. And it's not, I'm not dissing achievements. I'm not dissing having a nice house or reaching your goals or being ambitious. Not per se. I'm not dissing those things. But what happened to the love? What happened to your humanity? What happened to your sense of community? What happened to your sense of, you know, caring for other people, right? Do you have that anymore, or is that gone because you're so caught up in your own achievement, your own ambitions and things like that? That's what I argue. I argue that we should think about that. You know, like where's our virtue really? What are we really? What are we really achieving? You know, if we gain the world but we lose our soul, to quote the Bible, right? Think about that, man. If we gain the whole world but we lose our soul, you know, you lose part of yourself when you're trying to be something you're not. You lose part of your humanity when you're, you know, always putting on a front of masculinity, always putting on a front of being alpha, this, that, and the third, right? You lose who you really are, right? Where's your happiness lie? Does it lie in all these achievements and all in your mortgage, in your truck, in this and that? It's not to say you can't have those things. It's not to say I'm dissing those things. But is that all you're wrapped up in? Is that all you're about, right? And it's a cold world we live in, man, because so many people are occupied by these things because they take up our time. They occupy us, and then we lose our happiness because we got no time, we got no energy. All I got time and energy to do is go to my career, make my money, and pay my bills, and have my woman and whatever. And again, if, you know, as I always say, if you don't pay these bills, if you don't have that mortgage, would you really have the woman? Would she stick around? Right? So we're occupied by keeping the bills paid, keeping our woman happy, right? I got to turn around here, but we're so occupied. And how much time do we have for enjoyment? How much time do we have for our soul? How much time do we have for other people? For love, real love, not just this